So I decided for this anniversary video, the big 5th anniversary video, that I would talk about some tidbits that Robin and I have learned about sustaining a loving, long-term romantic relationship and hope to pass some tips on to you. This is just a disclaimer that this is a unedited video, so you might hear me stutter quite a bit. It's all part of the course, of course. So I thought about making this a marriage-centered video, but then, of course, I realized that there are less people my age and younger who actually want to get married and would just rather be in a committed relationship. So therefore, if I say marriage and long-term relationship, please use that interchangeably. I'm also aware that people experience romantic love differently. So what worked for us may not necessarily work for you. I did a small little ask on things that would be good to talk about, and well, the first one that came up was communication. Because I'm gonna be real with you, communication is hard. Everyone hears, interprets, and expresses communication in different ways. And when you become long-term and the honeymoon phase is faded away, you begin to enter the daily grind of life, and slowly you begin to do less things that you used to do when you were fresh into the relationship. One thing that Robin and I learned is that we cannot read each other's minds, and if I want something specific for my birthday or for our anniversary, I need to tell him, and same goes for him. I know it's such a huge romantic thing that your significant other does something as a surprise for whatever event it is, but if you don't tell them, how are they supposed to know? Will it ruin the magic of the surprise? Yeah. But will you have a great time knowing the two of you are doing something that the person wanted to do? Yeah. For example, once I told Robin that I'd like to have supper with him at a specific restaurant for our anniversary. I told him this a couple weeks in advance. And I didn't make hints, because Robin has told me that guys don't get hints. So just straight up tell them. I guess this is good. This is towards women, if they have a boyfriend or a husband, don't tell them hints. And that's, of course, that could happen to anyone, that the person that you're trying to intend this for, just the hints just go flying over their heads. But this is generally a male-female relationship kind of issue. So yeah, I just straight up told him, and we ate there. And once, just once, he told me that he wanted waffles with strawberries and ice cream. So I made him waffles with strawberries and ice cream. And, of course, we need reminders, because the one thing that Robin and I are great at are being terrible at planning events. Oh my word, do not leave us in charge of planning, a party or anything like that, because we suck. Oh, another thing that you should keep in mind, as you hear my mouse clicking, is you need to tell your partner how you feel, no matter how you feel. They need to know. Like I mentioned, your partner is not reading your mind, and they may not realize something that they're doing is annoying you or hurting you. I guess I'll give you a little example. Robin likes to tickle me, and he's not ticklish, so I can't fight back. And sometimes his tickles, they get a little much, and sometimes I don't let him know that the tickles are no longer fun, even though I still laugh and play around because, there's an initial reaction, and I know that's just his way of loving me. But, if I don't say anything, I will explode on him, and then he gets frustrated that I didn't tell him before. But when it comes to arguments like that, if you do end up exploding, don't leave the argument confrontational, because once you have shared what you need to share, you now need to resolve it. What are both of you going to do to fix it so it doesn't happen again? Because, I'm talking in the plurals tense, your attitude towards an argument or disagreement can either make a bad situation worse or calm it down much better than you'd hoped for. Have you ever heard of the saying, a gentle answer turns away wrath. This is, well, I find it true. It can be so helpful going into an argument as calm as possible and resolving the argument as calm as possible. But I should say that I don't want anyone to think they failed because their partner ended up yelling and confrontating. That sounds weird. Confrontational, despite your best plans to be calm. Because, you know what? Some people just can't handle criticism of any kind. They don't know proper conflict resolution skills, and sometimes they may not be the right one for you. That's, I guess, it's not necessarily that can tell you the relationship is going downhill. It's more when the person doesn't take responsibility or doesn't end up fixing it. And I should also mention that you're not a bad couple if you have an argument, because you're two individuals with two different mindsets, two different backgrounds of doing things, just doing things in life that are different. You may be the same in a lot of interests, but you're going to differ on something. And a lot of the times it can be something simple like how you put your kid to bed. That's just an example, but some people, they don't, some couples, they clash on how they put their kids to bed. Another one is discipline I use kids as an example. I know most of you, I know some of you aren't going to have kids. I guess this is just the best example I can come up with, is disciplining. Someone might think just, being like, this little, hypothetically, smack on the hand, and be like, don't do that again. Well, the other one's like, you must go out to the timeout area, whatever, right now, and blah, 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 you will clash. And that's just an inevitability. If you don't argue in your relationship, I think that's more worrying than if you do have an argument. But of course, then it goes too far. If you're having arguments all the time, then something needs to change. But if it makes you feel any better, Robin and I have argued many times. But the thing is that we've learned proper conflict resolution skills before we entered our marriage. And so we are able to properly resolve all of our arguments that we've had with maybe some tears, but a happier resolution and a hug and a kiss, of course. Now I need to pause. There. I also got a question about dates and if Robin and I still go on them. I will definitely say never stop going on dates, and I don't care if you've been together for 30 years, keep on going on dates. You need that break from life. You need that break from kids if you have any. You need that break just from the grind, just to be together. It could be as simple as going on a walk. It could be as simple as even just playing a video game together. Make intentional time together. I've heard a couple say that a healthy amount of going on a date, the time to go on a date, is a 30-minute date every week or a 2-hour date once a month. Now, I will admit that Robin and I have slacked when it comes to dates. We, would try to do at least something before we had our child, and after Rupel was born, we didn't go on a lot of dates. It's when you don't have your grandparents, not your grandparents, his grandparents near you, and of course you're kind of struggling for money for babysitting, you just sacrifice that time. Now, of course, it took us a while because Robin and I have different leisure activities. For example, I'd rather draw, he'd rather play video games. I'm not much of a gamer, he's not a drawer. So we finally figured out, at least recently, that one date we can do is just playing Stardew Valley. There are other things that we do too, we go out to restaurants. We've gone for a scooter and longboard ride, playing Pokemon Go. Things that you can do, maybe go to a museum, watch a game. We like to see lacrosse and football and basketball sometimes, mostly on TV, but we'd like to go to some live games if we're able to. And I encourage everyone who's even in a sexual relationship to come to an agreement of how often you'd like to get intimate with each other, because it's an easy thing to forget in regular life, and it's joked that you stop having it when you're married, which is dumb. Well, yeah, I would feel awkward saying how often Robin and I have pillow fights. I've heard sources saying once a week is a healthy amount of time, but everyone's different. Maybe you'd like to have it more often, maybe you'd like to have it less often. And that's only accounting for people who are in sexual relationships. Asexual people don't really have to worry about that, I suppose. I don't know. But hey, it could even be a date. And of course, there are many things that can be said about tips in keeping the fire alive in a marriage, and a lot of it we wouldn't have known if we didn't take what's called premarital counseling. I honestly would actually encourage every long-term couple, every soon-to-be married couple, every married couple to go to some sort of relationship counseling or therapy just to figure things out that could interfere with their relationships, because it's a lot of things that you may or may not have even thought about. Like, what are both of your goals and dreams? Are they similar? Or are they vastly different? What is your relationship with your families like? Do you have strained relationships? Were you raised in a certain way? What are your beliefs? What do you believe, like, not just religiously, but what are your beliefs in, say, politics? What are your beliefs in, disciplining? What are your beliefs in having kids? Stuff like that. And even simple things like likes and dislikes, managing your money, like a lot of things that you kind of don't think about. And it's always good to have an outsider see the things that could end up being red flags when those close to you may not see or have the confidence to tell you. And relationship therapy and counseling should not be reserved for the couple who's about to break apart. It's really for any type of length. You could even be in a marriage for like 40 years, and I'd still say you should take some sort of therapy or counseling just, to make sure that everything's going well. They can suggest things that, could be not fixed, but improved. They could suggest, encourage you in things that you're doing right and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think that's the amount of time I'll be talking for this. And honestly, I can't believe it's been 5 years and a total of 9 altogether. We've almost been together 10 years, guys. It's kind of funny now that we've been married longer than we've been dating. Not to mention that Robin just said to my youngest brother that he's now known him more than almost his whole, half his life. And that's crazy because my brother's turning 19. He was 10 when we first met. That blows my mind. So on that note, I'll leave it as that. I was supposed to do 3 drawings. I totally forgot to draw the 3rd one. So you're only getting speed paint for 2 of them. So my bad. I can be a doofus sometimes. But any other questions you have about relationships, I can do my best to answer them. If you want any tips, just comment below. I'll do my best to answer, and of course, I don't have the answer for everything. I've only been married 5 years. I may have some stuff figured out, but I don't have everything figured out, and so I'll do what I can. So take care, everyone. Thank you for watching this on our 5th anniversary, and I'll upload a video sometime. All right, bye guys.